Yeah, talk about hot's too much and then tell us
So,
about the outside.
yeah, this is too much. So, um, humans have innumerable, expansive, high abilities, and they take practice to to do. So it seems like we're small and incompetent because we just have an aversion to practice. So when we do something and it doesn't work out that well, and we think that's not for me, that's not who I am, that's not what I'm made for. We think it's we think it's not our nature, but actually it's not our nurture. It's not what we've practiced. For instance, talking to a camera. As soon as I've had some practice talking to a camera, but as soon as we turn the camera on and we're no longer just thinking and flowing, all of a sudden, the mind gets flooded with all of these past memories of having made bad first impressions on people, and matching that with the social media atmosphere of like, is this going to be good enough to post? Is this going to be representative of the good life that I want to blast out there and show people? Because if it's not, it's just a waste of time. But you're right, we should take a video and go through the motions and set the things up so it's aesthetic, and do that, because social media, before it existed, Nikola Tesla, back in the day, has this great quote. Who knows if he ever actually said it, but he prophesized that at some point, every human being on the planet will have a communication device to connect to any other human being on the planet whenever they want to, and thereby the human race will become like neurons of one mind, and will be able to be more unified. And so now we have that prophecy came true, and it's new and it's powerful. The potential of it is extremely high, and it's not what we've practiced. We've practiced, in recent human history, a lot of circumstantial privacy. We used to have phone books, and you could go and look at anybody's phone number. Now people will show you just about everything about themselves, their birthday, their kid being born, their everything, and make that public knowledge. But their phone number, they keep it secret. So there was a time when privacy was kind of assumed. Now, if you do something bizarre in public, you can pretty much assume that someone's gonna catch a video of it and maybe post it or something. So there's all sorts of elements and variables about this new environment that we have that Tesla prophesized, where we're able to connect with each other at any moment. And one of the things we've lost is that assumed, taken for granted, circumstantial privacy. And so it might be the case that we're feeling that lack of privacy and scrambling to find it. And since this is new and this is practice, maybe we're making some mistakes as we do that, and a lot of us are isolating. A lot of us are isolating and showing the world a facade, and our authentic selves get shoved into our couch doom scrolling. I recently heard that I haven't had a drink or a drug in 12 years, and when I stopped drinking, it was still cool and popular to drink. I recently heard in America, only 55% of adults drink alcohol. And that's wonderful, it's healthy, it's good for our bodies. But it's also true that people usually drink alcohol when they get together and they celebrate, and they want that social lubricant because they have too much of that insecurity and stuff. But this, drastic, all-time low of drinkers in the country is also indicative of an all-time high of isolation. We're spending more time alone and less time having dinner parties, getting together, socializing authentically, using this immense power of connectivity to each other as a prosthetic for true connection and being with each other, and addicted to it because it is not the real thing. And when you look to something as if it is the real thing and it's not, but it kind of gives it to you, then you look again and it's not again. It kind of gives it to you a little bit less, but it still gives it to you a little bit of that dopamine. You see some people partying, you see this, you see that, you feel a little bit better than you did in your isolation, almost as if you had socialized, but all you did was social media'd. And this is the nature of addiction. It's not a practice, it's a compulsion. It's something that, you can use the word practice. You practice again and again, going to this place, looking for this something that your authentic, true self is asking you for, to connect with others. And you're going to a substitute for it, and you're getting a little bit of that fix, fooling yourself into being satisfied by it. And so programming yourself to go there when you want that, and then because you rescind that much more from meeting that friend for coffee or planning the dinner party and washing the dishes and cleaning the house and doing the work that it takes to actually socialize, it's that much easier to go to the easy replacement for it, and it works less and less, and it becomes more and more habitual, and that's the nature of addiction. Eventually it inverts on itself, and it not only stops working, but it starts hurting you. But the pattern, the nurture, nurture's not a great word, it sounds like loving and stuff. The compulsion is established, and it's all you have because you haven't practiced the real thing. So you keep going there even though it's hurting you, and you can't stop. And that was my experience with alcohol. The first couple times I felt so free, and I had been so locked up. And the effect of alcohol is on the human is we can parse it out just very basically. It reduces the blood flow and hence oxygen to the brain, so it stops the mind from working as efficiently as it does. And if the mind is set up in a way that is limiting to the flow of energy through the human, in other words, like I'm scared that I'm not gonna survive. I'm scared the bills are gonna get too much and I won't survive. I won't be able to eat or something if I don't get this or that. I need to get paid, or I'm not gonna be okay, or I need people to like me, or I'm not gonna be okay. When the mind makes all these structures, these contingencies for being okay, what happens is on a regular, ongoing basis, you're not okay. And not okay is a way of saying the energy's not flowing. A good way to understand this is when you escape the mind, maybe you watch like a great movie, and all of a sudden you're out of your life and you're in the main character's life and you're rooting for them, and they get the girl and they kiss, and the sun and the music and the whole experience is freeing you, and you might feel a tingle come up your spine, and that's Shakti. That's the energy being allowed to flow, because for a while you took your attention off of your life that has all of these contingencies that aren't being met, and you put your attention in this other place, and you got a little break from this blockage, and it felt great. And that's why we love films. That's why they're called movies, because they move us. Just kidding, they're called movies because they're moving pictures. but that's a joke. And so the same thing happens when we drink alcohol. All those contingencies, all those thought structures, I need this to be happy, I need that to, they all stop working so well, and they just kind of are a lot like weeds, like in a stream. They're just blub, 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 blub. And so the energy flows through them. All of a sudden, this big rush of energy. You know, why was I worried about this and that? Life is beautiful. You know, I love you. You know, I love you, man. And you sit and say this. And you know, I'm not just saying it because I'm drunk. I really love you. And it's true. You really do. But you're kind of retarded. You're kind of like, you're not working correctly either. You're not working incorrectly. You're not blocking that energy. But you've put yourself into a state of loosey-goosiness, and it feels great. But what happens is we're built to adapt. So this is why the body builds a tolerance to alcohol. And all of a sudden, down the road, after it works less and less and less, and then you drink, and you're still messed up, but these blockages have learned how to be there still. And so you drink into oblivion, to unconsciousness completely, and that becomes the only salvation from the blockedness. And when you sober up, the fear and the things you were free from for a few hours, they come back and they reconcretize like bones after being broken. They're stronger, and whatever it is, you hate yourself that much more. And the body's the mind, the system's adapting. Oh, I was loosey for a bit. Let me just reinforce this so it stays here, since the alcohol did it. Then you're drinking and it's not fun and the energy's not flowing, but you've lost the ability to solve problems and make amends, and nobody's talking to you and everybody's worried about you, but you're all alone. And I found that place, and I stopped drinking, which was hard to not do it because the temptation was all I knew at that time. But I practiced spiritual growth, and at some point I realized that that's what I actually want, and every other thing that I want is just a prosthetic for the deep, true desire for ultimate spiritual connection, what religions call salvation. And so it's when we let go of something that we think we want, it doesn't mean turning our back on it or saying that's evil. It's a way of honoring it for what it is, not mistaking it for what it's not. And I try to remind myself every day, even though I still have tons of little things that I want, and I take the action of going and getting them. I want the feeling doom scrolling gives me. I want to stay up too late because I feel like not enough will happen during the day, and maybe something will happen at 11 p.m. where I'm just, maybe the next reel will kind of make something happen, or that junk food, especially when I have anxiety and the energy is coming up in me, but it's in a weird shape and it feels like I don't know how to deal with it. I'll just eat a bunch of pizza and ice cream and shove that energy back down, and then go into a food coma, even though I do all of these, call them sin, the archery term, to miss the mark, to aim at something and to have a maladjusted trajectory and hit something near it, or that looks like it, emulates it, and to mistaken that for the what you were going for, what you really desire, is a good way to define sin. So I still do these bad habits, I'll eat that pizza, I'll do these things that I think that I want, but I remind myself every day that the only reason I want those things is because they give me a little tiny fraction of the feeling, of the energy flowing that happens naturally and fully if I were to set my sights on what I truly want, which is, call it union with the highest part of myself.